Bet you Joel Osteen doesn't get to talk after that. So let me bring you down. Let me bring you back to the idea of this thing we call spirituality that has been changed and shifted into an idea called religion. And let's go back thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years ago when mankind really didn't think all that clear. But what mankind or humankind did know is that there was this great big ball of light. And this light radiated warmth. And when that light went down, it became dark. And it got scary because things you couldn't see in the dark tend to scare us. And we didn't have ideas of understanding things. So there was all this unknown out there. And so we, in our wisdom at that time, said, that must be a supreme intelligence, a supreme being. So we began what? The worship of the sun. All religions on this planet come back to that very premise. So let's break it down a little bit further. So we've got this sun. What does the sun represent? The sun represents light. And the only thing that where light isn't there, it's not like light can disappear. If the sun is there, light comes. It's only when the sun moves around, or we move around the earth moves around the sun, and the sun is no longer there, that all of a sudden there's no light. But the light is always there. So what science and spirituality are coming together to understand is that light is God. This energy of light is a consciousness, it's awareness, and it's always been. It is always shining. And so with this light that's always shining, we can take that light and see it as if it were the light shooting through a projector. And that light is constant. It never stops. So in our lives, that light shooting that projector is always shining up there. Like the projector shooting the Agape sign up there. Whatever we put in front of that projector, it shoots up. So how we focus creates our experience. Here's the thing. It's not how we focus sometimes. It's how we focus all the time that creates our life. And this is where we get mixed up. We think we've done changes, and we say our life hasn't changed. And I want to go. I've met many people as I've gone on this journey, and I can recall an individual that I met about a month ago. And this individual would tell me, I'm the most positive person I know. I mean, all I do is talk positive. And so we would be at lunch, and I would be listening. And then we would be at another lunch the next day, and I would be listening. And I would hear, I'm so positive. Why doesn't my life change? And finally, on the third lunch, I said, let me be a tape recorder back to you, and let me tell you what I heard you say. And so I repeated back all the things that were told to me. Exactly the way they were told. And this person said, I didn't say that. I said, yes, you did. Yes, you did. You have a habit of saying this. It was said over and over and over and over again. And what happens? That habit of thought put in front of the projector shines up, and that's your experience. That's why the experience of this individual hadn't changed. They had no idea that their thoughts were reflecting something different than they thought they were reflecting. Wouldn't it be really cool if you could take a recorder, like a microphone like this, have it on you all day for a week? And then you could spend a week just listening to what you said? And better yet than just you listening to what you said, have someone like me next to you, so I can make sure you heard what you said, where you couldn't lie to yourself. Well, I didn't really mean that. How many times have we done that story? We speak the word, I didn't really mean that. Oh, I'm just kidding. It's just a joke. Well, you know what? This light, this law, it doesn't hear jokes. So let's take it and let's go from, there's two really ways I think that we can look at it. One is we can have an attitude where things are not the way we want it. And when we get an attitude of things are not the way we want it, what do we tend to do? We complain. And we find people that we can complain with because they will support us. And we need to be supported. Because when we complain, we want to draw in as many people as we can. And then we can all have this great complaining party. And then we can have our collective lives shine up, and we're going to track what? What we complain about. Or we can go and we can shift and we can go to a life of gratitude. I've come to understand that the simplest way to explain love is to call it gratitude. But you see, love is not about just being grateful when things are going right. Love is about being grateful for whatever is happening in our lives. Whatever is happening. If we are challenged with a disease, the disease is challenging us to become more aware, because the disease only happened through a lack of awareness. If we are uncovering bad issues happening in relationships, it's because of where we are not grateful. We're only grateful for a partner when they're doing what we want. We're not grateful when they're independent, doing what they want. Isn't that interesting? But when we accept someone and we're in unconditional love, think about this. We're going to go and we're going to look at this thing we call God, but we're not going to look at this thing that we call God from an anthropomorphic idea. Anthropomorphic meaning giving it human qualities. So we understand there's an infinite power and presence. It is that which is beneath all. It does not have human qualities. It is expressing itself as all things because all things are created out of it. So if all things are created out of the emanation of the infinite power, then could it be bad? No, it's only bad when you think about it from human terms. It's only bad in human terms, there's death. In the infinite terms, there is no death. Death does not exist in the mind of the infinite. Do you understand that? You see, you cannot have this idea of God that says, you will die and then I will judge you. That's not God. That's man. Man creating an image of something it's like a Superman image. And that's what we've done. We've created Superman images for God. That's not love. Think about all that is created. It just observes. It just observes what is going on, probably giggles a little bit because it gets to see itself dance in so many unique and different ways. But you see, when we go into gratitude and we embrace the fact that in this moment, for example, in this moment at the age that I am, I get to be in front of you sharing my greatest gift, to speak and to teach. I'm not going back to the past when I had a corporate career doing things that I thought I wanted to do, but they weren't. What I realized, I have to give thanks for that corporate career because that career gave me all of the insight, all of the wisdom, all of the financial wherefore to be in the position where I am now. So I look back at all those deadlines. Anyone have a job with deadlines? And anyone have a job where you've stressed beyond belief? Remember, what you focus on, you attract more of. I have found now, I remember in the corporate world when I was a vice president, and I had all these things, and I would lie awake at night, and I would jump on people who weren't fulfilling their needs, and do this, and do this, and do this. And today, I couldn't even tell you what one of those deadlines was. That's how insignificant we create ideas that are important. But I will say this, what is significant is what is the energy that you're doing it with? What is the focus that you're coming to do it with? You see, it doesn't matter what you do. What is the focus that you're taking into what you're doing? Are you doing it to be of service? Are you doing it because it's your gift to be of service? You love being of service. You see, knowing that we are all connected, and there's no way we're not. We are all connected because we're created out of the same stuff. And this idea of consciousness, while we think we have an individual consciousness, we're really an aspect of the collective consciousness. So we're all here to what? To simply remember that we are more than this physical body. We're more than this little mind that we've got. We are the infinite, and we have the ability to express at a level beyond what we can even imagine. So when I look at an individual, I know they've got a gift. I'll tell you a story that happened to me this week, and it'll demonstrate my humanness. I want to take myself down off the platform at times so that you know that I'm just like you. And that is, I'd met an individual about 6 years ago. This individual is a lot different than me. They're about 5'6". They're thin. He's got a different way of expressing and explaining himself. The only thing we had in common was we have a teacher in common. And so both of us have been going to this teacher, and I've been going to this teacher for about 6 years. This individual's been studying for 20. But there was something I just couldn't connect with. I didn't know what it was. No matter how many times I was around this person, I didn't connect with them. And then I was looking for something. I was looking for a doctor who had a specific piece of equipment that would decompress. And I checked everyone I knew. And for whatever reason, I had this individual's name in my phone, and I dialed it. And I said, "Do you by chance have this?" And they said, "Yes." They said, "Call my person, yada, 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 yada." And so that next Monday, I called. And yeah, we can get you in on Tuesday, no problem. So I went in there with a focus. Didn't I have a focus? I built the focus up over 6 years. And I went in and I said, and I was sitting in the waiting room and I said, "Okay, Lee, what do you teach?" You say, "Open up and know that something better than you could imagine will happen." And what happened for me was I had the best exam and treatment I've ever had in my life. And that person was in my life for 6 years, but because of my shutting down, because of my focus, I wasn't able to see it. You see, everything you're looking for, everything we're looking for in our lives, it's already here. It's where are we focusing? What have we focused on? Are we focusing on, I only want to be with redheads? Because if you're only focusing on redheads, all the blondes, all the brunettes, all the silvers, all the blues, blue hairs, you know what blue hairs are, don't you? All the blues, they're not seen. Because where the focus is on the red. The key thing is how do I focus on being aware of everything? Then once I'm in that focus of everything, how do I give thanks for it? You see, we have two eyes. We have two eyes because I think it symbolizes that we can look at duality. We can see hot from cold. We can see big from small. We can see love from hate. All of these things. But I think when you study the mystics, they talk about the third eye being here. And it's one. The third eye does not see duality. The third eye does not see opposites. The third eye sees everything in perfect balance. And you see, that's where we're divine. That's when we have the experience of love. That's where we can truly be grateful in ways that is unconditional. And you see, when we talk about unconditional love, it means accepting and being grateful for everything. You see, that's the focus that all the great avatars have taught. When you talk about Jesus, when you talk about Buddha, when you talk about Krishna, when you talk about any of the avatars that are on the planet right now, it all comes down to, do you see the balance that is life? Do you see the balance that your life is? Your life doesn't need to change for you to be happy. You have to change to see that your life is in balance, and then you will be happy. See, it's right here. We go to our heart because our heart doesn't judge. Our heart accepts. And in that acceptance, it needs no justification. It just knows. So I invite you this week, as you go through whatever your life is, I invite you this week at whatever question you might have, I invite you to let your heart speak for you. Simply close your eyes and say, what does my heart want to express in this moment? What is in the highest expression of love and gratitude? And just be at peace and listen, and your heart will guide you. It will lead the way. And let's go into prayer. I want to thank you for joining us today. I am so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask you to go to our website. Once there, click on the Contribute button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to the world. I would also ask you to please share this message with anyone you feel might benefit. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and the Agape community as together we bring joy to life.